You know those shots of city skylines? Lately, when you look, especially at night, it's kind of striking how many office buildings just seem dark, empty.
It's a stark image, isn't it? Almost like, well, depressing tombstones, like you said.
Exactly. And the data backs it up. We're seeing vacancy rates just under 20% predicted across the U.S. by year end 2024.
And some places are even higher. Phoenix, I think, was projected over 33%. It's huge.
Yeah, that whole shift to remote work, hybrid work, it's really changed things for all that office space. Hard to figure out what to do with it.
Well, that's where things get interesting. There's this completely different idea emerging, using those vacant buildings for, believe it or not, vertical farming.
Vertical farming, so like growing food inside these old offices.
Precisely. Taking those empty floors, maybe even the land around them, and setting up systems to grow greens, lettuce, kale, herbs, cucumbers, that sort of thing, right there in the city.
Where traditional farming is, well, difficult or impossible.
Exactly. It avoids so many limitations.
Okay, this sounds fascinating. That's what we're doing our deep dive on today, this pretty surprising solution. So why is this becoming such a hot topic right now?
Well, think about supply chains. They've recovered a bit, sure, but they're still looking vulnerable. You've got climate change causing weird weather, geopolitical stuff flaring up, even farmers' strikes.
Right, lots of instability still.
Exactly. And that's making cities, in the U.S., Canada, Australia, elsewhere, think much harder about local food production. How can we make ourselves more resilient?
And these empty office buildings, they might actually be perfect for it. Seems counterintuitive. What makes them so suitable beyond just being empty?
It's really about the adaptability, I think. The spaces themselves can easily house these modular growing racks.
Modular racks, so they can, like, move them around easily.
Yeah, precisely. They're relatively simple to install, configure, even relocate if needed.
Yeah.
You could potentially turn miles of this, well, dead space into productive urban farms, growing all sorts of fresh greens and herbs.
Okay, and from an economic angle, that starts to make sense too. I remember seeing something from Warren C. At Ardfox Schiff.
Oh, right. The point about vertical farming potentially being a cost-effective way to repurpose these buildings.
Yes, that was it. Breathing life back into them without maybe the huge cost of a full residential conversion or something.
And that's key for cities, isn't it? They really dislike having these large, empty properties just sitting there, not contributing. If this vertical farming model proves itself financially,
Then you could see cities really getting behind it.
potentially, yes, it solves a problem for the property owners and for the city's economy.
And the upsides seem pretty significant beyond just filling space.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, first off, you're providing fresh vegetables directly to local customers. That's a huge win.
Right. Cuts down on food miles immediately.
Hugely. Which also means lower CO2 emissions from transport.
Yeah.
Plus, these systems are incredibly water efficient.
How efficient are we talking?
Some figures suggest up to 90% less water compared to conventional field agriculture. It's a massive saving.
Wow. 90%.
Yeah, and you need way less land, obviously. Plus, production is stable year-round. Doesn't matter if there's a drought or a heat wave outside.
Okay, that's a compelling list of benefits. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing, has it? I heard about some big players in the U.S. facing challenges.
That's true. You had places like Plenty's Compton Farm and Bowery Farming in New York hitting some turbulence. Rising energy costs have been a factor. Interest rates, too. Some have even had to pause or reconstruct.
So is the dream hitting reality?
It's more like Keen. Reality is forcing refinement. Experts aren't really backing away from the potential. They see it as learning from early mistakes.
Okay. How so?
Well, for instance, maybe initial assumptions about energy use in totally closed systems needed adjusting. Now there's more focus on optimizing lighting, maybe integrating with building systems better. There's also progress in the circular bioeconomy, reusing waste streams within the farm itself.
And technology is still improving.
Definitely. Grow lighting gets more efficient all the time. And fundamentally, the global demand for, well, food and sustainable raw materials isn't going away. It's increasing.
So despite some bumps in the road, the feeling is that this approach, vertical urban farming, it's still got legs, it's adapting.
Exactly. It's evolving. It seems poised to keep transforming these empty spaces into something, well, genuinely productive, nurturing communities and maybe even redefining how we get our food in cities.
So the big takeaway here seems to be these vacant office buildings, they're not just eyesores or symbols of economic shifts. They could actually be nurseries for a more local, more sustainable food future.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What could this mean for the future look of our cities? for food security right in your own community. And maybe, what other unexpected solutions like this are bubbling up to tackle today's big challenges?